Do you want to know how to co-parent successfully? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we're talking about co-parenting and best practices. In this video, we'll talk about some of the struggles that you might be facing with co-parenting or might be on the horizon if you're going in that direction, as well as we'll talk about some things that you can do to create a stable environment where you can both be on the same page, no matter if you are living together or not. Co-parenting can be tough. It really is hard when you used to be united together. You maybe were a little bit more on the same page. Maybe you weren't, but at least you were living the same schedule most of the time with the family, and now suddenly maybe you're not. That can be a struggle. And if the father and the mother are not on the same page, then the children end up really feeling the brunt of that. So I know parents want to do whatever feels comfortable for them. Maybe each parent wants to parent the way that their parents parented them, or maybe each parent just, wants to give into their own, I guess, creativity or emotions, or however they feel like parenting works out best. But the problem is that if that happens, the child then has to adapt. And it's not bad to learn to adapt. In fact, that's a lesson people need to learn their entire lives. And it's something you might need to talk to your child about, is how to adapt to these differences in the parenting. But the problem is if one parent, say, teaches them a skill, like, how to disagree appropriately, say, that's one of the 4 basic skills of self-government. And then they use it with one parent who knows what the skill is, but then they try to use it with another parent who doesn't know what the skill is and might even be critical of the skill. Then the child could think that using the skill disagree appropriately is not a helpful skill, when in reality it's an adult skill of diplomacy and good communication that can help them their entire lives. But sometimes what will happen is there's this immaturity in a relationship, a co-parenting relationship, where the parents are kind of like competing with each other. That's a really immature thing to do in a co-parenting relationship. And if that competition happens, and sometimes one of the parents doesn't want to use the skills or the discipline measures that another parent is trying to use. I do know sometimes in a divorce decree or in a separation, people do make decisions about how they will parent during that time, and that's good if you've got something like that. I hope that the teaching self-government system can help you a little bit, because it's just a method of communication where you self-evaluate. The parent self-evaluates and the child also self-evaluates, and you teach them how to do that and how to make good choices with their behavior. And so the parents aren't really doing anything to the child. That's the beautiful thing about the teaching self-government model. A lot of parenting is heavy-handed, it's emotionally manipulative, it's controlling, but the teaching self-government system is really calm, really calm. Like, the foundational tone element of all of it is calmness and understanding calmness and how that works with you. And then there's skills that you use for communication that are predictable, that everybody understands, but they're not controlling. They're just good parenting where you're doing the training that you need to, but still you honor the choice of the child in that parenting structure. That said, while honoring the choice, it is important to still make sure that the child understands that they need to respect their parental authority, even if they have to adapt to differences in that parental authority. Regardless of if you have your co-parenting partner on the same page or not with you, you can use the teaching self-government system to help you. And it's really beneficial. When a parent knows, for instance, how to help a child who's dysregulated or going completely out of control, how to choose calmness, how to come back into control, how to accept consequences. If they have good, calm, connective communication, even during a correction, the relationships can flourish even if the ideal is not there, even if there still is a split in the family and a co-parenting situation. So if I were in your situation and I was co-parenting, the very first thing that I would probably do is see if I can get the co-parent partner to watch this video so that you could be on the same page. And, that may or may not happen, or maybe introduce them to some other teaching self-government video here on the channel that seems like an issue that they might be interested in. Then what I would do, if you could, the ideal would be to come to the Parenting Mastery training. These are 3-day intensive trainings. You don't have to sit by each other. You can sit completely apart if you want to, but you do it for the child. And then each of you create your own visions for the relationships with your children. And then you give everybody in the family a reason why, because they're going to care about these relationships and making them healthy when you make that good vision. Then you establish the skills, those 4 basic skills, as well as talking about the 5 teaching styles that they will need to know and understand for when they're going to be corrected and taught by you. But at that point, they should be able to take ownership. Then you just have to consistently follow through. You would occasionally have meetings, but basically at Dad's house, they'd have meetings with Dad. At Mom's house, they would have meetings with Mom. Now, here's another thing that's really useful. When the child switches homes or goes on a home visit or something like that, then each parent whose house they're coming to would pre-teach the child about what to expect. Okay, let's review your skills. Let's review the negative consequences that are here. And it would be just a very short conversation just to kind of reset. Because sometimes even if you're experiencing, good parenting one place, and maybe even if it's the same and parents are on the same page, when you move to a new home, your flow gets disrupted, and sometimes you even start attention seeking and doing some misbehavior. So just resetting that every single time. Now, if the co-parent that you are working with does not want anything to do with the skills and principles of self-government and calmness, and you're kind of going it alone, then all the more reason every time your child comes back to your house, you'll want to make sure that you pre-teach them about what they can expect that your home environment would be like and what types of behaviors that you will correct and how the follow-through will be. They need that just to set their brains. That's the really merciful thing to do. So I'd like to share a quick story about how this benefited one family. Recently, in the last couple of years, I met a couple who had just recently been married, and they were coming to my training because the one parent had been doing teaching self-government, and her new husband didn't know anything about it, and she wanted to be on the same page with him, which, would be a really good thing going into a new marriage. And her children were in their teen years, but they really only had been doing self-government for a year or 2. But it had been transformational for their family. They had some really extreme behaviors, some neurodiversity, a lot of anger, a lot of power struggle, and they'd gotten themselves to a place of healing, of calmness, having good bonds and good relationships. So here she was bringing her new husband to this training to get him on the same page. And she said to me, Nicholeen, I would never have been able to get to where I am now if I wouldn't have done all of the pre-teaching for my family. I pre-taught my children that even if their dad didn't know the skills, that they need to try to use them at his house. I let him know what they were. He started using a few of them, not even all of them, but even just a few of the skills that made a difference for the consistency with my children so that we could stick to it. So here it was, not even a perfect situation of co-parenting, but a decent one. And still it was so transformational for the children. And now here comes a new parent into the mix, and he's going to be part of that too. Really powerful. It is important for couples to try to get on the same page, but if they can't, you will start to make progress even as the children learn the skills. There's so many more things about self-government that I could teach you, but probably one of the most important things is calmness. We really need to know, as people who are self-governing, how to get ourselves to a place of calmness so that we can have full function with our prefrontal cortex. So I actually have something that could help you with your calmness, and that is a Calm Parenting Toolkit. In fact, that might be a great first introduction for that co-parent who you're hoping to get on the same page with you. If you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, then you will see that there is a Calm Parenting Toolkit there. You can have that Calm Parenting Toolkit for free right now. If you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, it'll give you 10 tools for calmness and be a great beginning for your self-government journey.